Right, hello guys. Welcome to another part of the Sim18 course. Now we're going to smash the Sim18 course out now because pretty much ready to carry on and get cracking. So when you're changing obviously turbos and such, the first thing you're going to come across quite quickly is that your standard map sensor won't be enough for what you've got to do. So it won't allow you to see the boost kind of levels that you want to see, because you can pretty much max out the 3 bar standard sensor with the standard turbo, because obviously we're talking big power like from these cars. So gone are the days where the cars come out like 150 brakes. They're now being released at like 300 brake, and with that comes more work in terms of tuning and things like that. Now, the Golf R itself has got 2 map sensors. There's one on the throttle, which you can see quite prominently when you open the bonnet, and the other one is actually before the intercooler pipe. So on the lower charge pipe, just before the intercooler, there is another map sensor. Now, the scaling for these, they have their own scaling for each one, and to be fair, the scaling in Sim18 is pretty much the same as the diesel. Because obviously, if you remember, if anyone's been through the courses and things like that, with Med 9 you had offsets for the scaling, whereas with a Simos 18 you pretty much have what is come out the pack. So standalone users and things like that would understand these figures. It's basically a min and max depending on voltage and offsets based on that. So it's quite a simpler one to figure out in a way. Both of these sensors are in this ECU, and I always find the easiest one to change is actually the lower map sensor on the intake pipe, just because it is a 2 bolt design and the 4 bar goes straight on, and I don't really see any issues with throttle and things like that on low revs, which you kind of get when you're changing the one on the throttle body on the throttle housing itself on the intake manifold. So I'm going to show you the 2 sensors that you need, and I'm also going to give you the scaling you're going to need to be able to change both sensors. Obviously I only normally change the one, but if you want to change both or just one or whatever, this is how you would do it. So the first, rather than looking in 2D, because obviously this is a very busy ECU, what we're going to do is we're going to search for those 2 sensors. So if I switch to text mode and I've got a Deimos loaded into here, so I'm just going to go straight into the map list. So I want the throttle one first, so the one on the pipe, which is the lower. I'm just going to put that in, scoot to that. So search text found, IP, PRS, up, throttle measured. So basically always make sure that that matches that when you're doing a search, because you'll find that sometimes your search results get a bit muffled because they've got the same kind of lettering in different kinds of different kind of sensors and things like that you're looking for. So this is the first one, which is here. So it's the conversion characteristics for the pressure up throttle measured, basically. So it's the lower pipe. We'll look into the next one next. So what you basically have here, if you take the way if you look on the sheet for Bosch for the sensor, which is quite easily found online and things like that, you'll be able to get these values. What I use is 0.155, 4.493, so basically 4.5 volts, and then at 0.155 volt I can see exactly 199.997 pressure, and at 5 volt or 4.5 volt I can see obviously 4 bar, so 399.941 basically gives us 4 bar. So all we're basically doing when you're scaling these sensors is telling that the minimum voltage and the maximum voltage. So we're taking this from a 3 bar sensor to a 4 bar sensor. Now the scaling on these are the same, but the second one you're going to need, if I just come out of here, isn't actually far from here, but it's a lot obviously easy to find when you know what it's called. So if everyone gets the pens out, so next one we want is the IP underscore PRS underscore IM for intake manifold underscore MES. If I just press search on that one, see now I've searched for it, and it's given me it, but it's also giving me some at the end of it as well. So that's not the right one. So search again, and there we go. So IP PRS underscore IM underscore mes. Again, make sure that matches that. Okay. So I want this now. So again, it's exactly the same as the other one. It's actually slightly different, but it's still scaled the same. The sensor on the bottom on the intake manifold is what we call a map sensor, so the actual scaling is slightly different. But if you switch it for the sensor that you're going to use, which is the general 4-bar for a 1.8 turbo, 1.8 turbo for a diesel, we're going to have to scale it the same. So 200 by 4000, and then we've got 0.155 and 4.493. So again, that would be that. So that would be that sensor scaled, and obviously the other scale. So always remember that PRS underscore IM is for the intake manifold, and the THH is for your throttle pipe. So obviously the pipe before the intake. So they're very close together. You got that one there, you got that one there. So they're not miles apart. Quicker to search than they are to find sometimes, because the numbers all blend into one. And that is how you scale in the 4-bar map sensors on the Sim18 ECU. So let's get cracking next on boost control, boost setup, timing, cam control, and everything else we need to do to tune these cars. So I'll see you over in them videos.